Hello, welcome to the High Council podcast, where today, on this episode, we're going to be talking about music and art and how it relates to philosophy and how that relates to just everyone in general. Because my personal belief is in order to be considered a true civilization, you need some form of artistic representation. Because even the mugs in literal caves, cavemen, were creating pictures on cave art, and that was symbolizing something. And that goes into my second part of this argument of how art is part of a self expression that is important. Like, no one makes art seriously and it not mean anything, if that makes sense, or for no purpose, let's say. Art has a purpose in general, I would say. And one of the purposes is expression, and also just it's one of those bedrocks of like society, in my opinion, where it's kind of widely agreed upon that you can't be considered an actual society or civilization without some kind of art export, as in some form of dance, song, written expression, or painting or whatever, expressing your personal feelings or thoughts in some kind of way, if that makes sense. Essentially, if you don't have some form of artistic expression, you're lacking as a society. So, what do you think about that, Alex? The resident musician here.
Um, yeah, art probably is a sign of a collection of people. So a society is gonna have like a distinct like art form or like art practice or something. But I think that like religion, I guess like spiritual stuff can be a part of that too. Just like how you dress and
Plenty of paintings or religious things.
right, exactly.
All the texts, forget about it. Yeah, I would say
So
a lot of the times, some of the first artistic representations were of, religious or spiritual things because that's where a lot of times the resources went, like to the clergy and the people saying, if you don't give me money, our gods will be very upset. So you should probably give me money. So people like that are going to have a lot of resources to say, hey, we should make more things that show off how important our God is and whatnot, or our beliefs are. And those are how commissions kind of started, where the people who had the money and had the religion, essentially, or the will to want to have something created, said, hey, I will literally pay you because you're that good at what you do to make something. And I just think that's really interesting. And to go more into music, which I was just listening to on my walk today, and it's just very interesting how I can deem something good or bad music to me, but I can't say that something isn't music, if you catch my drift. Like, anything can be considered music, and anyone can have an ear for anything, and uh, I think that's really cool. I can respect anyone's opinion, especially the guys who like to listen to white noise. Shout out to them. That's the superior form of musical entertainment. But there's something else I was going to say too. But yeah, essentially, oh, how yeah, I can tell you what music I enjoy and what music I don't, but all music is some form of expression, which I feel like is valid. And I feel like every musician has kind of not like a voice, but maybe that is a good way to put it, a voice where they're trying to say something. Like in every kind of piece of music, whether it's lyrical or not, I feel like there's a message or an underlying theme or tone, maybe, that's trying to be expressed. Because, just thinking about it from a human perspective, art is an emotional process. And when you're making music, you tend to put in the feelings you're feeling at the time. So, say I'm listening to something nice and ignorant, a whole lot of shooting and whatnot, I can assume that the person who wrote this music is inundated with that lifestyle or knows at least a little bit about it enough to write about it and also, mix it, make, go into the studio, all these extra steps that really make a musical production, like all the steps that took for it to make it on my Spotify playlist, I just sometimes sit back and think, man, someone really cares about like their music, and someone really cares about these sounds, and I just really appreciate it because I can appreciate good music too. But yeah, I just want to talk about that, and I just thought it was really interesting how music and art are so relatable, but also so diverse. Like it's rare to find someone, random person on the street that shares their common interest in music, but almost anyone can agree on like what a good sound is. Like if something sounds good, if something harmonizes, people will enjoy that. But if something sounds off or doesn't harmonize quite, quite irritatingly, it'll sound off. And I can only imagine to the higher degrees that is for musicians. That's just what I've heard. I'm not an actual musician. So yeah, well, what? Oh my gosh, I can't speak. And that's why you should give this podcast 5 stars and like it and share. And we appreciate every listen. But Alex, what do you think about what I was saying about music, and how do you think it relates to the artist? Because I love to think, I don't know what it is about me when I listen to songs, but in particular Drake, just some like his lyricism, I just can like think and see him like writing down lyrics and just like be like, yeah, this shit is fire, and like just in the studio like rapping. I'll show you some lyrics, but yeah, just some just like the confidence and just the style and just I don't know. I hate the word swagger to describe something.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
a
like,
good
yeah,
word
I
to
know, but
describe.
like, yeah, the swagger
why
of how he
people-
says things,
that's
just
why
the
people
cadence. Yeah, I
like-
just love Drake.
Well, because rap music is like it's one part poetry,
One part rhythm and
right?
like,
But then also there's like this ego projection that's happening where like they're a character that is like that you're learning about like what this character does and like
Yeah,
what they say and like how they like
how they live, honestly.
how they live and how
you're
they
getting-
handle situations and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And
that's
so like
honestly so interesting.
when they drop a bar that like is like, oh, this
Perfectly
is so typical
encapsulates,
that
yeah, perfectly
like-
encapsulates like the personality.
yeah.
That's another thing that I
And
love.
it makes it easy also to envision like
The person, like,
but like the person
the
while
artist.
you're listening to it, like
Yeah,
envision their lifestyle and like what is like, and it allows you to like escape into their like
into their
life.
like reality. I
Yeah,
would call it.
right.
Because honestly, Drake like what's his real name? Honestly, I forgot.
Aubrey Graham.
Yeah, Aubrey Graham. I was like something Graham. Drake and Aubrey Graham are two different people. But when you think of Drake, the face of Aubrey Graham shows up, and that's exactly what Aubrey Graham wants. He wants you to, when you think of him, usually to think of Drake, the multi-million-dollar artist of the decade. And so when he says stuff like, I can't even think of a good Drake line right now, but classic Drake stuff like getting out of bed with models. You think Drake is really about that life, and I 100% agree that Drake has woken up with models in his bed. But
well, that's the thing. Like he's not even necessarily putting on.
yeah, that's the thing about Drake. Yeah, Drake literally. Oh, here's one line that I can remember specifically from Drake. He literally said, "I used to rap about like getting everything until I actually got it." And could you imagine about me rapping about never getting it, like something like that? Just like I used to rap about flexing and all this stuff and wanting the $1 million lifestyle and whatnot until I actually got it. And now I'm talking about other stuff. Could you imagine if I was still talking about, oh man, I'm still trying to make it big, still trying to make it like, and still like talking about all my doubters and stuff. Like Drake, I feel like through his career, obviously has ascended. And it's very interesting to see his trajectory over time, because I was listening to like more recent stuff and it's just wild, like how mixed his, not his life, just how real I believe it is, because he literally talks about his life before he was famous and how parts of him are still authentic to this day and still like won't change. But there are other parts about him where he's like a literal millionaire, literally won't wake out of bed unless it's worth his time and money. So it's just very interesting how I feel like Drake's in that weird like pseudo area of he is kind of a like celebrity, kind of like in that untouchable sphere of he is other, but also the relatable kind of down to earth nerdy guy who Kayla calls him corny, which I feel like is an interesting way to describe him. But I feel like that's kind of a good way to describe him. And like he is self-aware. He knows that people know him as Drake, but he also knows that that's not who he actually is. Like he actually knows that he's Aubrey Graham, but Drake is a character. But Aubrey Graham has all the things that Drake has, essentially, like the women, money, cars, all the things that Drake raps about. Aubrey Graham has, but Aubrey Graham doesn't need to flex and like sing about it and whatnot. He just lives his life normally. And then when he gets into the stew, I feel like he becomes Drake, and he's like, okay, what did Aubrey Graham do today? He did some cool ass shit, and let me rap about it and go into like, I don't know. He also has, this is gonna be a Drake episode. He also has just that what you call it, the range of being able to do like literal singing, which I'm not as fond of as the hardcore rapping, but also he does a mix where it's like I can do a hardcore like rap bar, but also sing in the chorus and then come back with a bar, which is wild. So he can like the range is just wild, in my opinion. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Drake is cool. I think a lot of people were like singing and rapping before Drake.
I mean, of course, but
like,
I'm
what
saying
was cool about Drake is
his
that, like,
range is cool,
he
and just his ability to quote unquote.
He's new in the sense that he's a rapper that was making like emotional music like directed towards women or like for women.
I don't know. I feel like that was always kind of R&B. What about Neo?
Well, yeah, like, but he's not a rapper, right? That's what I'm saying. Like making rap music.
Yeah.
About that.
What about J. Cole?
I mean, I guess it came out around the
yeah.
same time.
J. Cole was in there. J. Cole is also one of my.
I mean,
top
but I wouldn't
artists,
really call him like a singer like that.
Yeah, J. Cole's a rapper, I would say.
So there you go.
What about Chris Brown? Technically, he's sung about that.
I mean,
whether or not it was true.
Rapper, though.
What? I mean, yeah, I guess he's more of a singer dancer, you would say. But he can rap, I've heard. So I've heard.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
But yeah, I don't know. Drake's cool. I feel like the best recording artist of the last I feel like Juice WRLD was actually like one of the best artists that has come out in the last like 5 years or 10 years. Probably.
Not to speak ill of the dead or anything, but I feel like he's slightly overrated. Maybe it's just because I heard too many of the songs on the radio. Like, it literally turned my brain to mush. Like, anytime I hear like you're lost in my bed, or like every time I see your shadow in my room, like I literally want to blow my brains out. Like I
had
reached
some mega hits.
Yeah, I know.
Like, got overplayed, but the thing is, like, he could freestyle for like 2 hours straight.
Really, I never heard or saw that.
Yeah, like there's YouTube videos of him like freestyling for literal hours, like, and the beats keep changing.
Yeah,
like everything is not makes sense. Like the lines make sense, and it's clearly off the top because like some people like
have
freestyle and they just say things that they've memorized, which is okay. That's
fine. Like
but
going back
also,
to
like
vocabulary that
actually
you're familiar with,
freestyling, like actually like calling people like just clearly improvisation, like that is another talent, and the fact that he could do it for like 2 hours straight and shit like that, like he literally didn't have to stop. And also the way he made music was like he would freestyle every song, so like he could literally just go into the booth, freestyle a hit record, and like do multiple like takes on the same beat and then go over the beat.
You're like, okay, which one's best?
Yeah, like literally that's what he would do.
I mean, sounds like one talented guy. It's a real shame that drugs did him in.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up because it's like
and it was avoidable too. It was.
I mean, it's almost like he got in. It's hard to say. Like, was he into the drugs just because, like, he got into them early? There are other people like this, like Lil Peep, but it's like the music is about drugs. So that's like when they were in like middle school, they started experimenting with drugs because that's what the music was about. But then it's like in every generation, there are artists who are drug addicts who like are also.
It just depends on the drugs: crack, cocaine, heroin.
Yeah,
weed.
But drugs that that
Lean.
will kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean crack, cocaine, heroin, weed. Or yeah, I was gonna say those three. Weed has never killed anyone. Fun fact. But yeah, those are the serious stuff that all the artists love. I hear.
But it's like it's not just the drugs, like because like think about Mac Miller and Lil Peep, like they died from overdoses of like lace drugs, whereas like Juice WRLD just like took
all the drugs. He literally took all the drugs.
Which is actually really sad that like he
felt
basically
like he was in the
committed
position.
suicide.
Yeah, that's the most wild thing I feel like about that story is he felt as though he was in the position where that was the only rational
I
thing to
mean,
do.
but
the
it
only
wasn't
thing to
even
do.
like people tried to say, oh, he was trying to hide the drugs, but that wasn't even it. Like it was the fact that he was a drug addict battling addiction, like being a slave to the drugs, like feeling sick when you're off of them, and like constantly having to do them just to feel normal. But then like they make you lose sleep and they keep you up and they
Or
just
bread. Well, I guess when
and
you're
also
millionaire,
the strength of them, like
yeah, your
you're always
tolerance
chasing the
increases,
dragon,
yeah.
right? So it's like he like
It's
this.
rough.
It makes you wonder like that the fact that he actually took all those pills and like this he decided to OD basically.
Yeah, I mean, no one was like, yo, bro, you need to take these pills right now. No one's like, hey,
Yeah.
Juice, we're all going to jail unless you take all these pills right now.
But it's just like, damn, like you could be a successful rapper like that, like and super talented, like the best of your generation easily probably. And then, or just like one of the best freestyles to ever, like, or just one of the best. Honestly, I feel like he was one of the best recording artists. Like, just one of the best recording artists ever, probably. Just for the fact that you can freestyle a whole song and like multiple songs, like you're freestyling whole albums.
I mean, that is impressive. I can't lie to you.
And like with melodies and also like verses and shit.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Like he was just as versatile as Drake with the like Drake. Yeah, kind of started the whole. Well, actually Kanye, but then you could say people have been singing and rapping forever. But yeah, it got to the point where he's like now just like almost rock, like but just as hip hop too, and it's like a cross fusion. That's like I don't know. Yeah, music. What is that? What is that industry, or what does the music industry say about our society?
I was just going to bring it back to society because we are getting a little long here, but I loved the conversation and how we can now go back, circle around, back to society. And yeah, what does that say about our society in which some of our most talented humans in our society feel as though not only do they need to take drugs or whatever, but also many of them, like we've already mentioned, have died or will die, sadly, very soon into their primes or what many think are their primes. And there will be arguably lots of songs that we'll never get to hear in their perfected state because these artists have lost their lives, sadly. And obviously, there are more important things than not being able to listen to certain music when someone dies. But that's one of the main things I think about. Like, obviously, the loss of life is sad and everything else. But hey, the music, I feel like, will live on forever. That's what everyone says. And, that's kind of interesting also is, they left a legacy. That's the least you could say, I guess, right? No matter what, they'll be remembered. That's what they say is the mark of true immortality, always being remembered. Because nothing lasts forever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says a lot about our fucking society because it's like the music is about
escaping
and
pain
also
through
gun violence, and then like
and also just like
that's how they
brutality and just society. Honestly, a
but
lot of
like,
rap is about systemic problems.
Listen to like that's what we want to listen to.
Arguably not, because I would say too much.
The hardest bars. The thing about Juice WRLD is like his songs, like the hardest part of his songs, like where you're just like amazed by his lyrics, is when he talked about like his drug addiction and just like he could make any song get real at a moment because it's like damn, like he's actually talking about what he like his whole life and everything, and that we like when I saw the news that he OD'd, I'm like, yeah, he chose to OD because he would say that in songs like I feel like overdosing, like I feel like that, like I might as well just overdose.
Well, he certainly did.
But then it's also like all these rappers dying from like XXXTentacion, like dying from
getting robbed. Robbery. Yeah, I was gonna say refusing to get robbed. I forget the story on that, but yeah, crazy things can happen, and that's why
Pop Smoke.
Yeah, getting just hit basically. Hit was essentially sent out on you at night, and
apparently that's not even. Apparently it was just kids that tried to
like steal from him.
Yeah, because they wanted to rob him.
Yeah, I saw.
Money.
Yeah, I saw that. Like one of his homies accidentally put the address on social media. Like
no, he put it on.
Well, one of them put it on because it was like they took a picture and the house's address was literally in the picture.
Well, yeah.
But yeah,
because he like got a gift or some shit, and then they saw his address. But that's crazy because Yeah, like it was just some like 15-year-old kids. Like I'm pretty sure the youngest person there was 15 years old, and so like just some young kids that were just looking for a lake or whatever, doing what the music is about.
Yeah, doing what they're told to do in the music, or what they feel as though is required of them. I guess because that's always interesting. I kind of want to talk to not the drums of society, like because that's kind of not a nice way to put it, but the people in society who choose to do bad things. I kind of want to talk to those people because, fun fact, guys, if you didn't know, my car was keyed several years ago and it still hasn't been fixed because in my head I'm just like, it might honestly get keyed again. And it was keyed on two separate occasions, but by the same people. And so I just thinking, I would love to talk to those people and ask why. I mean, sure, for a laugh, but is that it? Like,
how do you know it was the same people?
Because it was the same looking key, like strokes, kind of, And I'm pretty sure, I might be misremembering after years, but I'm pretty sure it was like 3 long ass keystrokes on like both my car doors on one side, like the driver's side, and then I moved my car, and then the next day, 3 more streaks on the other side. So I was like, someone's getting creative here. And of course, you got your little smiley face on my, my gas container, which is lovely. So yeah. Shout out to whoever did that. And I guess that's where we'll end it. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate all of the listens, and we'll see you around.